In this video, you're going to be taking a look at Commander Cody for the Legacy Collection. This guy was also repacked in the TVC line, and the way you can differentiate between the two action figures is that the belt is backwards for the Legacy Collection figure here. Obviously, the orange is supposed to be on the right side here, and then the gray on the other. But colors aside, the belt is indeed backwards, and you can tell just from the Saga Collection figure here. You can notice that right there. Personally, I'm okay with it though. I know some people have complained about it, or they say things like, oh, I'm glad the TVC figure fixed that. But I see this as a way to differentiate my figure from the rest in a way. I imagine most people that have this particular type of Commander Cody, they usually have the TVC one. I don't think the Legacy Collection one was a huge production run. I don't recall seeing it in retail at the time at all. So I imagine most people, if they have this one in their collection, it's going to be the TVC one. And this is kind of like my way of saying, oh, I got a unique one. So I'm okay with it. Bring something different to the table. So I got this guy brand new for $40 in free shipping in 2017. And I also got him in a lot with the Clone Wars Season 3 Anakin and Obi-Wan. And then the Clone Wars Mace Windu as well. Got him in a huge lot of action figures. I think I got a few others as well. Maybe the Shadow of the Darkside Cad Bane as well. 2017 was definitely a golden age, I guess, for action figure collecting for me. Especially with a lot more of these rare action figures. I did do the review for the Saga Collection figure several months ago, if you want to check that out. And he's been in my collection ever since 2006. But around 2007, I thought, I'm a big fan of Commander Cody, and I would like to have some different samples of him in my collection. And I thought this was a great contender to add, and I'm glad I did. It's a very nice action figure. The detail in his armor is phenomenal. I don't think this tooling has been reutilized for any other clones out there. It's interesting that for Commander Cody, Hasbro usually goes all out to make an entirely unique action figure for him instead of just reutilizing various parts from other clones and making them kind of generic. They kind of did that with the Clone Wars Cody and a little bit with the Black Series one. At least for these realistic interpretations in 3.75 inch scale, it made them unique. You can really see the detailing in his armor. He's got all these scrapes across his chest there. And something that's really interesting is they made all these gashes in his thigh armor here. Hasbro really goes all out to do something like that. I'm glad they did that here. Really adds a lot of character to this guy. Helmet sculpt is really good. A lot of nice details in that as well. And it does a nice job concealing his head underneath. And it is a very easy helmet to take off. It's a very nice Tamora Morrison head sculpt. They did do the scarring on his forehead, on the side of his left eye there. And he also has the fade on the sides here. Interesting design, or interesting hair sculpt, I guess. I think the scarring on his forehead, though, is much more defined on the Saga figure here. You can see the difference between the two. Both head sculpts are great in their own way, though. The antenna here is just all orange. Well, on this one here, they did do the silver. Interesting thing about this Cody as well is it seems like the white is a little bit different throughout. Like the thigh armor is a little bit of a more off-white compared to armor for his actual body there. It's brighter in some areas and not others. I'm not sure if that's just yellowing or it seems like I've had this Cody for 7 years now, and it seems like he's stayed consistently the same color. I'm not sure if he's really prone to yellowing. And for some reason, I know a lot of people complain about the removable helmets not really fitting over the action figures, but Commander Cody is one of those characters that Hasbro can consistently do accurately, and you could barely tell that he has a removable helmet at all. The proportions are right. You can't see the chin underneath. You can barely see his head underneath at all. So it's interesting they can get it right for Cody, but not so much for other clones. Hasbro can do it if they wanted to. In terms of his articulation, he does have a ball joint at the head there, then hinged shoulders and elbows, swivel wrists, joint at the torso. He does have hinged hips, which at this time was still a very unique thing. Not too many action figures had that. Then the hinged knees and the hinged ankles. So phenomenal articulation at the time. I still think it's really good. In terms of his accessories, he's loaded with them. Besides the helmet, he does have the jetpack here, which this is probably the one drawback I would have to say about this action figure is that his jetpack does not fit well on his back at all. As you can see, the peg is very small, and it generally will stay in the place, but sometimes if you just touch it just enough, it wants to fall out on you. Would recommend being careful about that. He also does come with an extra Obi-Wan lightsaber. I'm not sure if this is his exact one. I'm pretty sure it is, though. And it does have a peg. Accidentally dropped that here. It does have a hole on his belt to where, in theory, you could put it on, but it's so the hole really doesn't have any depth to it at all, so you really can't utilize that. I'm not sure if the TVC figure fixed that or not. It doesn't really work too well for this figure. I suppose if you wanted to take a mini drill or something, or a drill bit, and see if you wanted to work with that, or do some modifying on your own, you could make that happen. And additionally, probably an extremely important accessory for Cody is this hologram and projector of Darth Sidious here when he gets the order to execute Order 66. And I think you can take the hologram off. Yep. This is something we kind of saw again in the Clone Wars line between Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress. They had a hologram of each other. This Sidious looks pretty good. I'm glad Hasbro did include this. And it is fun to display Cody here, holding it and getting that order. And of course, he does come with the DC-15 rifle, which it's interesting they included the longer rifle with him. I think it would be more appropriate for Cody to have the shorter one, like this one here. Because I think there is a few scenes where we see him with this one instead. And for being a commander, it makes more sense for him to be carrying that one around, something a little more lightweight instead of this, because, you know, he's got to be giving orders out and running around, and he's not going to be so much in the directly in combat, I guess. And of course, he is a Build-A-Droid action figure or a Build-A-Droid character. And I'm pretty sure this is the part he came with. I know it's noted in some places that he came with the YVH droid part or a YVH 1 part. But I distinctively recall my sample did not come with one, and I think he came with a leg for an astromech droid instead. So I'm not sure if this is an exact one, but I'm just showing this off anyway, because it's an extra part I have on hand. I think this might be the one. So some of these Build-A-Droid figures, they come with alternative parts. He doesn't really hold that DC-15 rifle too well. But this is normally how I have them displayed. Something like that. It looks really good. And I'm happy to have both these Commander Codys in my collection. Had this one for 18 years now at this point, and then 7 years now at this point. I think I got this guy in July of 2017. But anyways, that's all I can really show you with this Legacy Collection Cody here. Would I recommend for your collection? I totally would. Between the TVC figure and this one, it's up to you. I think this one is a little bit cheaper. It's not as in much of a demand, I guess, because most people would rather have the belt flipped over, and maybe there's something to do with the lightsaber being attached to the belt. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some differences in the paint apps as well. But I'm happy with this Legacy Collection figure. I'm glad he's a part of my collection. Really like him. One of my favorite clone troopers I have. Between the two, I like them both equally. I can't say one's really better than the other. They just have various unique things about them. And he's, yeah, I'm just glad he's a part of the collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.